You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
You said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former intern's tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what the moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Is that actually a picture of the Antichrist crying? I like it. It's tasty.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
At the bottom of the ocean.
Welcome to WTFNationRadio.com's Monday edition with Ice and Flash. This 30 April 2018, broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence. Yeehaw! Holy shit. Y'all hear me? 5x5, we're a rock and roll. Oh, man.
I don't think you had enough energy. I think we should need to do that again.
Oh, okay. We'll say it faster or something like that.
My ears took a shot for that one.
Oh, my bad, man. So yeah, well, welcome to Monday. We're going to be bringing you, of course, news, commentary, and discussion. And, of course, at 2100, we're going to have Chad Garland from the Stars and Stripes. Yes, that Stars and Stripes. That Stars and Stripes that you're familiar with when you're deployed or stationed overseas, whether in Korea or in Germany, or deployed downrange. That Stars and Stripes. So he's going to come on board. And it's been a while since we had a guest, too, so pretty cool. That beard. That's all I'm going to say, is that beard.
They've been shying away from the hard-hitting questions of Ice and Flash.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, they're, you know what? Come to think of it, they are the only media entity that has come on to shoot the shit with us. Like, really, I mean,
I'm still working on some Army Times, folks, but they're a little more hesitant. Stars and Stripes, we don't care.
Well, I'm talking about we're talking more military familiar because connecting vets, CBS Radio, they just started hanging out with us. You know what I mean? They just started doing some stuff with us. But CBS is CBS. You know what I mean? It's not like the Stars and Stripes. That is one of the, I guess you'd say, the military newspaper. I don't want to sound all cheesy to them. I don't want their head to get all fucking big, but that's our newspaper. Like when I'm looking at,
they've been around for quite a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So, stars are night, star big, bright. Oh, wrong song. Yeah, Specky trying to throw me off with that Texas song, deep in the heart of us. But anywho, them coming on again. We try to get Army Times. We try to get Army Times and Military Times, and I don't want to come on. I don't know why. Is it maybe because I don't understand. They're like they're not going to trash another another news source. Are we even considered news? Or are we just shooting the shit?
I would think that we are more a commentary news network than a news source. Like we ourselves really don't break stories or anything, but we do talk the hell out of them. So we're kind of like Rachel Maddow and Sean Hannity with a heart.
Why would you even compare us to the two most vile individuals on the media right now? I can't even stand both of them. I shouldn't say most vile because they're reporters in their own right, but God, really? Did you just come? Oh, come on,
I said
man.
with the heart, like, you know, we actually have ethics and stuff.
Yeah, well,
here on WTF Nation Radio.
Well, it just blows me away that the fact that in recent discussions and recent stories and posts on the main page, we've been accused of some pretty crazy shit.
I mean, we're just a curator of information. That's all we do.
That's right.
Some people think that we're investigative journalists. We're not.
We've never said we were, right? I just said I'm new to it, sort of, kind of.
We just happen upon information, and
there you go.
Just make sure it goes to the right people to make sure things get done.
Exactly. See,
if people have a problem with that, then they feel free to email us at flash@wtfnationradio.com as the official PAO, and I will be happy to field your questions and take care of any and all questions you have for us on our operations. Other than that, shove off.
Yeah, I don't. Well, okay, look, but we're not going to tiptoe down to the subject. I'm going to fucking talk about it because I figure if anybody that can at least withstand a couple of punches to the face when it comes to this subject, I can go ahead and say it. Okay, everybody knows what's going on. Remember we were talking about the Center of Excellence for NCO Excellence of Excellence at the Sergeant Major's Academy of Excellence. Remember we were talking about that? I'm gonna repeat ourselves. Okay, we didn't reveal anything to anybody. We posted a teaser of something that could possibly happen that we were thinking about going into. We were awaiting another I don't know, I should say some information. Trying to get some who's got the flower? Who's got the flower? Who's got the flower emoji flashing through? I didn't even know that thing was still there. We still have the flower emoji on Facebook? I didn't realize that. So, anyways. So here's what happened. We posted something that we got a lead on, that we had something that could have been and would not have been something that was not really a big deal. What we think is not a big deal, if that makes any sense. It was one of those things like, oh, cool, whatever. So we're not going to sit there and we didn't even break nothing. The main page reached out to the NCO Leadership Excellence of Center of Excellence and USASMA. The main page reached out. Say, hey, we'll get back with you. Now, in PAO land, we'll get back with you isn't something that you're awaiting to somebody. You shouldn't be saying, we'll get back to you when it's a story about your organization.
That's PAO speak for we're going to blow you off until you hit us back again. We're going to ignore the problem until you then message again and be like, oh, so sorry, forgot, or we got busy or something like that. Like if it like we used to do that when we'd have people like who would ask questions about stuff that was like very low, like way low on the radar. We'd be like, yeah, we'll get right back to you. They usually meant we'll get back to you if it's the last thing on the list / until you bring it back up because we're going to try to ignore you.
So it was Branko that did that did the flower. Thanks, Branko. So the thing is that we only posted something about, hey, heard somebody got a good deal for t-shirts. We didn't name the vendor. We didn't name who was involved. We just named it the school, and that was it. That was it. And then hundreds and hundreds of Blue Falcons started posting shit in the comments. I'll be telling you guys right now, it was the most treasure trove of fucking information the Army Times was able to pick up. The Army Times was the one that grabbed the story and ran with it. Because all those fuckers were talking shit inside the comments. Now, mind you, Nation, every single one of the individuals that were commenting were more than likely students of the Academy. Which means in about, I don't know, when do they graduate? I think they're by fall, they will be your Sergeant Major or your CSM. It's okay, we got their names. We'll be more than happy to give you that information. Unreal. Never have I seen, as a matter of fact, I don't think I've ever seen Joe's cry that much. At all. What's up, Dave? So when the Army Times published the notice and then it was revealed to everybody what the status of the t-shirt was and who was the company, I'll say it. I mean, we're not bashing them. It was Grunt Style. So that came out, that they were the t-shirt vendor involved. Now, mind you, main page didn't say shit at all. They picked, yeah, exactly. They picked up the students put in the fucking comments who the vendor was. The students were the ones that said somebody got butthurt about something. They laid it all out, all of it. The main page was like, well, fuck, that's the way they work. If they're gonna break a story and somebody breaks it before them, then why break it? You know what I mean? That's the way they work. The journalists, there are some journalists in the main page, believe it or not, that are actually journalists that do that shit. And they were like, oh, fucking. They're like Butters that got, Butters on South Park. Whoa. Butthurt because they're not gonna, they can't release a story. I don't know how you journalists are, man. You guys are hungry for the story. And if you thirst on a story and you get enough good information, you'll publish it. I know how you guys are. So that was one of the biggest things that we kind of, now, since the post of that t-shirt post, every single comment that the main page has posted has had the students. Now, mind you, nation, these are the guys that are hemming you the fuck up, that were your first sergeant, that were hemming you up for posting something to the main page or commenting on WTF Nation Radio or whatever. That's why we're in shock. We are, all of us on the WTF Enterprise are going, these are all sergeants majors. They're going to pin Sergeant Major. All of them are. All of them are going to pin Sergeant Major, and all of them were the ones trashing fucking everything and anything about. I mean, holy crap. For one moment, we were like, holy shit, this is fucking, wow.
It was all fun and games till Army Times ran it.
Yeah, because
and then Army Times was gonna, like, everyone's, oh, this is fake news. When did Army Times go to real news to satire? And, like, I'm pretty sure if you match the names, apparently there's a couple. I guarantee there's probably a couple Blue Falcons that decided to switch sides as soon as everything started getting real.
Oh,
it's all fun and games.
Oh, they did. They did.
All fun
They're
and
even,
games.
dude. The Academy's even. They're hunting. They're hunting for a fucking insurgent or a fucking turncoat. They're actually turning against it. They're pointing it. They're worse than the fucking Gestapo, dude. Diming each other out. It was you, wasn't it? You were the one that talked to
there's
WTF
a whole
Moments.
bunch of, like, there's a bunch of comments of people saying, oh, there's a WTF U.S. Army WTF admin who's just butthurt because he's shirt or this, that, and the other. Like, they're so sure that one of their own is the traitor that they're all like, either they're trying to dime out or they're fanboying over Grunts. Oh, Grunt Style, I love you. Or Army Times, they're like, I hate you. Why would you report such scandalous journalism? And U.S. Army. So I think somebody actually said that U.S. Army WTF Moments is doing this to sell ad space.
Yes, that I was about ready to say.
To make money, and I was like,
yeah. Now, mind you,
when are we going to see that pay raise?
I want to see that fucking loot. We need to talk to the goddamn. We need to talk to the overlords of the WTF Nation. Where's my money? I'm getting paid negative $250,000 every day. Negative. They owe me some money. Exactly, Spanky. We want some snack raises. Negative. They literally are literally going apeshit. Guys, we didn't say shit. All we said was we thought somebody got a cool deal on something, and the entire, I was like, I don't know what, almost 800 people in the Sergeant Major's Academy. The entire class dimed each other out by putting everything in the comments. Everything in the comments.
And it was funny because I'd go through and I see somebody who'd hate on Army Times or Grunt Style's a cool shirt and this, that, and the other. I'd click on it and be like, oh, you're a senior listed.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a senior listed too. I wonder what's going on with you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you guys talking, huh? It almost felt like it was like we just talked about something and the Army Times, not U.S. Army WTF Moments, uncovered something like, as you know how You know how the Air Force, how they're always getting in trouble? The senior officers are getting busted for getting involved in ethical bullshit because of their jets they're trying to fucking do, and then you find out somebody got busted for, bad contracting practices for Boeing or something like that, and some colonel from project manager will get hemmed up and shit like that. Yeah, I mean, you've heard that before, so it was kind of funny because, and it was funny. At first it was funny, then it was fucking scary. Not scary like I'm feared for our lives type shit, but scary is that these individuals are going to be in charge of soldiers. So immediately, as soon as everybody, if you look at the posts up to the t-shirt point, there was every time something goes up and it's on fire and it's good, then there will be like, if it's a really viral post and a command will get butthurt or something like that, there's begging and all that, and it goes up to their, the main page has their process on how to take something down that's bad or whatever. So you'll see something. So believe it or not, you will see a post that gets posted and it starts to draw fire, and then all of a sudden it'll go down. That means because it's gone through the channels of. Now, those are exceptional cases. Those are extenuating circumstances of extenuating circumstances. But it's because their leadership, the leadership of the soldiers that post the shit that's on fire, they slam them, destroy them, threatening this and threatening that. Now, mind you, our inbox goes back pretty far. Our inbox actually goes back a lot, real far. From its inception goes back far. So every single comment that was posted talking shit about U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio, every single one of them that was smashing them and bashing them, you can look it up. I can or cannot say that they were in the inbox asking for help. That's what bothered us the most, was the loyalty factor. That they were willing to fucking slam their soldiers for something that was being posted back in the day. But then when it came to that, all of a sudden the HQDA professional online conduct fucking regulation went out the window for them. Because, the last time I checked, because I'm still in. Fast as fast can be. Swipe or no swipey. Army Regulation 600-20 currently contains punitive language regarding harmful use of electronic media. And the Assistant Secretary of the Army Manpower and Reserve, in coordination with the Deputy Chief of Staff, G1, will ensure that future updates will clarify the Army policy regarding electronic communications and online conduct. Remember when we talked about what online conduct and what online misconduct was when this thing first came out back in the day? It's okay, I got the ALRAC up. Every single one of those posts that were done by future CSMs and SGMs violated the Army fucking conduct. You want to play that fucking role? Because we could do the same. We got your names. Actually, Facebook's got your names. You're the ones that are sitting there destroying your fucking soldiers, and your soldiers are begging us to fucking remove a post because we also have a cyber team. Wow, holy cannoli. There's individuals that have asked us for help on here. There's been individuals that were former first sergeants of these soldiers that are now fucking talking shit. Online conduct and online misconduct. Doesn't seem to apply to you when you go to that school, right? In the use of electronic communication to inflict harm, examples include, but not limited to, harassment, bullying, hazing, stalking, discrimination, retaliation, or any other types of misconduct that undermine dignity and respect. Believe it or not, every single post that's on U.S. Army WTF Moments or WTF Nation Radio are vetted through our PAOs, and you know what? They don't even fit that fucking. They're not bullying anybody. They don't fit any of that fucking misconduct at all. When you look at it, a picture of someone falling in the motor pool because he busted his ass isn't cyberbullying, isn't harassment. The comments that go underneath, of course, you can get the fuck out. So, nothing's been posted that does anybody any harm. It's the comments underneath. So when someone says you need to take this down, why? You didn't have my permission to post it. Well, it wasn't sent by you.
Welcome to social media.
We go to social media.
You don't have to ask your permission for shit.
Exactly. Once it's posted onto that, didn't Zuckerberg just go up there and say something about that?
pretty much for those playing the home game, once you post stuff online, it really is no longer your property. If you actually read the fine print, let's use Facebook example. If I post a picture of my darling children or my awesome sporting a Yankees hat because we're 9 straight wins, go Yankees.
Of course, and you're gonna
Those
say that.
pictures all become property of Facebook, meaning Facebook can actually use your pictures and limited, but they can use them. You are no longer ownership of anything when you post it online, unless you have a copyright on it. If you don't, like your personal pictures, which none of us really put copyrights on it, guess what, Sonny? It's private property of Facebook, no longer yours. Meaning, if somebody puts something on Facebook to us, guess what? It's no longer yours unless you have a copyright on it. And I guarantee you busting your ass in the motor pool, or you have undercooked chicken and some defect in Korea, or you just have a general dislike for some sergeant major who's doing wrong and yelling at people for correcting them, but they look jacked up. Guess what? There's nothing you can actually do. And we've had people say, well, we'll get a lawyer. A lawyer would laugh at you because guess what? Welcome to social media. You'll lose.
You can't get enough lawyers because you're suing Facebook. You're not suing us. We're not. Nor are we slandering you. We just posted something of you drop like all the pictures, the videos that we post up. Like we posted somebody falling or like a motor pool video or something like that. It's posting funny shit. We're not really whatever. Oh, there's a special message from dear first sergeants and sergeant major candidates. For years, you preach on how you don't want your respective units to appear on U.S. Army WTF Moments. Your actions, either direct or indirect, have ensured your appearance on U.S. Army WTF Moments. Congratulations. Now get the fuck off my lawn. Not enough. So, in its irony of the circle of life, if you want to look at it from a predatory system, the predators are now upset and have now become prey because every single comment that was posted by the Smadges, every single soldier saw it. 1 point, like I said before, the 1 million followers of the WTF Nation, our memes will blot out the sun. You know what I mean? That's what's happening. That's what happened. Your soldiers all saw that shit. Your soldiers saw you get apoplectic and go apeshit and start screaming and crying and start throwing your fucking vet status all over the fucking place of your experience and started calling individuals that were your soldiers fucking pogues in the comments. Again, we didn't even post the name of the vendor. We didn't even post anything. We didn't post nobody. We posted nothing. I loved it. Sometimes self-righteous.
Even more, I loved Grunt Styles. They decided to go onto the thread on Army Times and post their public. This is not what's going on. This, that, and the other. Some people are calling BS. Some people are calling it damage control.
Yeah,
I was calling it a hoot.
Yeah, I remember you showing me some of the comments on there, but that's their entity and stuff like that. But my point being is that I was more upset at the fact that these are. I'll be honest with you, and don't take this the wrong way. I don't give.
Kind of hope they do.
I don't. No. I don't give a fuck who the vendor was. I don't give a fuck who was in charge of all that stuff. What I give a fuck about was the fact that all these comments were made by senior NCOs, which I outrank all you guys, so shut up. Stop it. You guys fucking went the fuck off on a Facebook page.
Respect my authority.
I'm going to Army. I'm a sergeant's candidate, class 68, huh? You better respect me. And then what happens? What fucking happened? Your soldiers just all that shit. Oh, like I said, I could give a fuck less who the t-shirt was. It could have been from anybody. Anybody could have been on there. So when you sit there and say, from here on out, I'd be careful. Because you know what journalists do? Because the main page actually, they do their own little stuff. They go into conference and do whatever. Believe it or not, on the main page, and U.S. Army WTF, all those guys. The WTF Nation Enterprise, it's a well-oiled machine within their specific organizations. The last time an organization, 3rd ACR, went after the main page, 3rd ACR,
the PAO got fired.
It was relentless.
Oh my God!
It was relentless.
So mad.
That campaign that the main page conducted against 3CR, because 3CR kept smashing on their soldiers. Wait, smashing means something different now. Kept fucking up their soldiers about online conduct.
Can't say smash anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
That goes into a sharp thing.
Yeah,
But they did. I remember they actually had a commander's memo to all the soldiers, and they actually someone took a picture of it and posted it, and we posted it on WTF, because it was saying like, what was the phrase? They had this cool little catchphrase they used.
Yeah.
That we hashtagged, but they pretty much said, hey, instead of being a part of the problem, be a part of the team, and stop posting stuff that makes us look bad. And what happened? Not only did that get posted, but everything they did that went bad. Every time a striker was in a ditch, we got a picture of it.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking arm's length of strikers, of pictures and images and stuff that were given into the main page that they were posting up. But there was something that again, what started it all was the PAO put out through the command team that if you like, comment, share, post anything from U.S. Army WTF moments, it'll be your ass, or something to that effect. You're gonna be fucking blah 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 blah. As soon as the main page got a hold of that, fuck. There was movies made. There was Star Wars movies made. There was fucking memes, like unbelievable memes made. There was some epic meme glory from that because of that shit. Now, being that is the NCO Center of Leadership, what happens in a school environment? Yeah, exactly. What happens in a school environment when nobody's there but you and your buddies and your classmates? Does the main page need to go even further? Because they can. They can just dig more. What else is involved? What else is being sold? What else is being bought? What else is being discussed? Who else are you doing? Don't do it. Don't do it. Because I got a pretty good feeling that if anything from the main page or anything's being discussed from anybody who's currently in the class right now, it will be Scorched Earth. It'll be Nuketown from Call of Duty and shit.
I'm talking Scorched Earth, motherfucker.
The Scorched Earth, motherfucker.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
God.
Shit. So what's the deal? If they want to play again, the main page published nothing but, hey, I heard you guys got a cool sweet deal on a shirt. Or something to that effect. Yeah, exactly. There was even a fuck red leg sticker slapped on Colonel Admiral Stryker. That's his name, Colonel Admiral. Exactly that, Great Cloud. They created their own echo chamber. So right now, they're listening. They are listening right now. Give us a like, you Sasma, so that we know we're there. Throw a share. Make a comment. Please make a comment. Because all the main page is probably going to do is start mining and grabbing facts and grabbing info. And then the WTF Nation will be unleashed there.
Did I mention to you that I actually I saw that PAO later down the road, right?
Yeah, you did, but you didn't like give me an. You just said, hey, I ran into him.
So I did. So I know who the PAO is. To not bash the man because he had a rough time at 3CR. There was some tears. I think there was some cussing, and
there were some reliefs. What are you talking about, bro?
Getting fired.
Yeah.
There was some getting fired by the division PAO and his colonel, and he has since, and he's on to other things. And I had run into him, and it took a second because I recognized him and I recognized his name, and it kind of dawned on me. I was like, oh. So just we were talking, and I had mentioned, I was like, so I said, whatever happened between you and 3CR and USR WTF moments? And I thought he was going to hit me for a second. And he was like those, and he went to a tirade for about 5 minutes before my commander was like, hey, you need to come on, we got stuff to do, about how US Army WTF moments ruined his career and everything and blah blah. It was one of the most satisfying rants I've ever had someone direct towards me, not about me. it was epic. Like if I was smarter, I would have actually recorded it on my phone. But it was, I'll just tell you, WTF Nation, it was very enjoyable because that's what happens when you decide you're going to try to hurt you're trying to do damage to your soldiers, but because they're sending us stuff when safety stuff isn't being followed, when these horrible policies that are hurting just your soldiers, that you're trying to hurt us. Whenever you try to go after soldiers, that's when US WTF moments kind of we kind of create a little chaos. It's not those all the rest of the units.
And here's the thing:
don't be like 3CR.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing that pissed us off: these were all bad things that were happening in the unit, and everyone had the ass. Well, at least in that organization, they had the ass that we posted something about it. They had the ass that there was even reporting. Don't you, the WTF Nation, want to know this is happening? Would you like to know more? You know what I mean? Just like fucking Starship Troopers, the need to desire, what was it? The need to know intensifies or some shit like that. So much ass of excellence. Exactly. So you're not going to sit there and tell us that we're not going to stop reporting. You know what we're trying to do right now? We're trying to lobby to become whistleblower protectors. I never thought that the Army was like, it's not the fucking poster. Trust me. Until you go into the inbox at US Army WTF Moments. Then that's when you see the Army, and you're just like, wow. That's why we're in this fight. Right? We can't even sing that song anymore because Korea's going away. So, the broom of excellence. But again, it goes back to the point of it's not going to stop at all. And again, we didn't report anything other than the fact that somebody got a cool deal. We got somebody at the school got some good shirts and all that, and the next thing you know, everyone just dined us up. So again, I don't give a fuck about what was happened or who the fuck makes their comments or how the Army Times. What I care about is the fact that there are senior NCOs that were acting like little crybabies in the fucking comments, and if it was their soldiers talking shit about their organization, they would have lit them up. They would have.
I figured these senior NCOs would be a little less, Blue Falconish, but apparently they've just, cultivated years of growing beautiful plumage like a blue falcon peacock. Just
it was
big old feathers out there. It's like when I Blue Falcon, I go hard.
Exactly. I Blue Falcon an entire grid square. It was like stabbing a fucking pig and throwing it in a pit of in a pool of sharks, man. That's how bad. That's how crazy. That's what my I was just like, wow, these are the guys that are slamming their fucking soldiers for posting shit on fucking line. These are the guys that are saying that they're worthless. These are the guys that are going to keep your soldiers late in the middle of fucking night. No, trust me, we love it. Spank, exactly. Can't fucking stand whining, even from grown ass men. What would have happened had nothing been said? I think, you know who we crack on a lot, and people don't even realize. I mean, people don't realize we'll throw a couple jokes at. We crack on the Naval Academy, and we crack on West Point. And do you know who doesn't come crying on the fucking comments? The cadets. They don't.
I tell you what, and I because we're talking about that, I will share stuff from West Point and Naval Academy on Twitter, and I'll even mess with them there. They're good sports.
Yeah, they
are.
I
have to say, I've never had anyone I've posted some very ooh gotcha. And I've never once had anyone come, I'm specifically because, we get a little less, Twitter's a little different than Facebook. But I tell you what, those organizations, they keep it very, every so often someone will give me a good clap back and I'm like, ooh, good one. And I'll give them props for it. But for the most part, they handle their shit.
But we do post some of the stuff. And believe it or not, sometimes I'm going to tell you what, you all got the WTF, we got the WTF Nation, they got the Cadet Nation, the gray line, they call it. And if it's posted on US Army WTF Moments, they all agreed to it. In other words, they will not, either it's a midshipman or a cadet that sends something to US Army WTF Moments, it's that code of fucking, I'm like, wow. Until, like a 3-star comes up and says, hey, man. It was funny, but take that shit down. Okay. okay, how about this one? You know what I mean? Shit like that. Good sports, but like you said, they are good sports. I only think we've only had to take down one West since I've been working here. We've only taken down one West Point pick, one, and that was for something. I can't remember what it was for.
They do a good job of policing themselves.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, exactly. So there's not a, there's not no fucking, there's no. But when it's posted. It's fucking hilarious. Nobody's crying about it. Everyone's like, hey, look, they're tagging each other, laughing, ha ha ha. Even West Point is tagged in the post. Even the Naval Academy is tagged in the post. USASMA? Holy shit! What the fuck? All hell broke loose. It's like Godzilla coming into fucking motherfuckers running. It's WTF Nation! Love it.
Careful, Godzilla's in the comments.
Yeah, I see him. Fuck, dude. Unreal. USAREC? Yo, what about USAREC? We fuck with USAREC because of recruiters. USAREC is USAREC. They're always going to be USAREC. We will keep going on USAREC till the day till the end of times. That's just because they're USAREC. Until they change their ways or something like that. I don't even think there's been nothing on USAREC that's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, they haven't had a post come in for a while. I think it's time for their weekly posts. Oh man. But yeah, so again, if you don't want, because when there have been some stories that U.S. Army WTF Moments has dug into that legit has had me disgusted that some shit like that has happened in the Army. And then the level of cover-up from motherfuckers that try to stop it, that's why I push to publish shit. Because I get it. If you're trying to fix something, the main page will reach out if you're a command. Hey, you realize this is going on in your command? Hey, you want to talk about this? You want to talk about that? Yeah, we'll get back with you later. Okay. 6 hours later. Hey, you going to talk about this right here? Nah, whatever. Okay.
Some people have gotten smart. Tell you what, I think that if you look back even, from like 3-4 years ago, the world of public affairs, as in Army public affairs, has definitely changed its tune to U.S. Army WTF Moments. I remember sitting in a big PAO meeting on Fort Hood with like, we're pretty sure there's an admin here on Fort Hood. And they pretty much were like, your mission is to find who this person is. And in that meeting itself, I had a contact who shall keep nameless, because he would give me the benefit of the doubt if anything ever popped up with my organization of nipping in the bud if it was a non-issue that somebody was bringing up that's already been addressed or whatnot. It actually gave me the common courtesy of going, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah. No.
Comment or what.
Correct.
And I appreciated that. And I remember I in the actual meeting, as that was going on, I messaged going, hey, do you guys have an admin on Fort Hood? I said, I won't tell anyone if you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I said, I'm just curious because we're at this meeting. And like, no, we have no one on Fort Hood. I was like, interesting. And I kept that information to myself, but it was funny to hear that, the PAO, the big PAO at the time, there's somebody here. We will find them, whoever they are.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff that, like you're talking about unit outreach, we do that a lot. Believe it or not, we do it a lot. I do it with the 82nd a lot myself. They're not bad. I mean, there are commands out there that want us to post moto videos for them, that want us to, highlight a fucking some of the
82nd does a good job with that.
Yeah. They will fucking sit there and say, hey, ICE, do you want to work something like this? Check this out. How about you post this? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. They're the only ones that do it. There's another organization that does it, but we tell everybody, hey, if you want to post a video, let us know. We'd rather have a relationship like that than all of a sudden you haul, because it was straight Big Sarge land dealing with fucking USASMA. Straight up. Straight the fuck up. Straight Big Sarge land. I almost feel like just jumping in the truck and fucking drive the 3 hours down there to say, hey, look, what the fuck, dudes? You know what I mean? What the fuck, over? But I guarantee it that they would freaking have issues with, you're ICE, you understand online conduct. So
I should try to get those folks at 82nd to come on.
Yeah, well, they're busy as shit. You know what I mean?
They are.
they're
Like if
busy
you
as fuck.
if you look at their Facebook or Twitter, and I believe they have Instagram, their PAO folks are actively busy. Like they must have like found every broadcaster they could, and just create videos, just keep them going.
Oh
like,
yeah,
they must have like a sweatshop of just button pushers just pumping out these videos, and it's quality stuff. Like I can't even hate on them. Like I see this stuff and go, man, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how did we get that shot, or how many people were on the ground just for that one shot, for this one video? And I try to dissect because it's professional courtesy. That's what I do. But I'm like, good job, 82nd. Good job.
I like their GoPros.
I expect nothing less from a division worth of public affairs folks.
I like their GoPro jumps when they're jumping with GoPros and you see their fucking vehicles coming out, and it's fucking badass. Like, yeah, that's right, Great Cloud. We filmed their we posted their combatives tournament. I don't get how how do I say this? I don't understand why you wouldn't want to work with the main page or WTF Nation Radio. Yeah, I don't see why not.
I mean, I think there's still an era of extreme caution because, we did, in my opinion, Flash, I think both WTF Nation Radio and USR WTF Moments as the main page have all gone through a weird, I won't say weird, but an interesting growing period over the last couple years of just how the page, what the page has changed into. It's been, I think for me, it felt like I was always watching to see who's guide on. There was one point, it was like every other day somebody's guide on was getting jacked and we were posting pictures of it. And it was more of a goof site. And then there was more of like, hey, this soldier needs to get from here to there because X happened. Can anyone give a hand to big things like, hey, we've got someone who's got no one there for a funeral. Can we get some folks there? And it became this whole, I won't be cheesy and say family, but it became an actual community of, like it is in the military today, like you're in your unit where there is joking, there is making fun of folks when they do stupid things, there's fights, but then there's also that camaraderie where we're like, hey, let's take care of this guy. There was one on the main page a couple days ago. Somebody needed to go from get 4 hours, and I think there was like 5 comments before somebody's like, I got it. And there's a whole bunch going, I can do it. And everyone's like, no, we're good. But it was kind of cool seeing that. And the pages have morphed like that. The problem is the Army thinking has not got there yet because they still see when people fuck up and somebody takes a picture of it and it goes up, then they see that as the negative instead of, hey, accept the good with the bad. We're a professional Army and we train, we're always training. There's going to be accidents. I'd rather have an accident on Fort Bragg or Fort Knox than in Afghanistan or Syria or wherever. So you take the good with the bad, and some of these organizations have come to the realization that they can have a professional, communication stream with us where there's, mutual respect. It's like, hey, look, we're going to let you try to nip this stuff in the bud when possible, and you don't try to screw your soldiers because they like our page. And then there's some that are like adamantly against it, and they're some of the older generation. But you have these new PAO captains that have been functional area changed over that are starting to embrace it more because they were the ones sending pictures as lieutenants. So I think it's a culture change. But there's some that are just gonna, it's gonna take a while for them to really grasp that. Hey, we're not always here to bust on you. We're really here for soldiers.
Everyone talks about the hazing thing. There was a post of an LT getting hazed. If you want to call it haze, who hasn't balled up an LT and taped him up for his birthday? Everyone's like, "Oh, it's bullshit, blah, whatever, the fuck, blah, blah, blah." And then a few posts later, there was a PFC getting balled up. Make up your mind. What's funny for the LT is not funny for the PFC. You know what I mean? I love it.
I'm a real officer now.
Yeah, exactly. Get your ass over here. Anyways, but yeah, So that was my, I guess you would say, my tirade. I don't want to say it's not really a tirade, but it's just like, I guess we're saying we're warning you. I don't want to say warning you because it's like threatening, because then it would violate Army misconduct, right?
We are informing you.
Exactly. We are informing you of the fact that you don't want U.S. Army WTF Moments or WTF Nation Radio to turn the Death Star towards Fort Bliss. Memes are ready.
See, and people just don't understand the capacity that we have. We are not a 5-person organization across the 2 pages. We're a good sized organization.
Oh yeah,
of very talented, and smart, and clever people that are just waiting for someone to want to kick dust with us.
Well,
so don't be that guy.
Let's put
Work
it this
with us. Embrace us. Don't fight us.
Do you know what attracts somebody to be an admin on U.S. Army WTF Moments or work on WTF Nation Radio? You guys didn't listen to your soldiers when they said they could do something better for your communities, and they came to us. That's what I could sum it up as. So all those times you sat there and said, no, it was a bad idea, you can't do it. Okay, we'll just go somewhere else. That's why our innovation and our mad scientists that are involved in our organization, that's how they get here, because they don't listen. They don't. So, everything. Think, type, post, think, obviously the message being communicated and who could potentially view it as type a communication that is consistent with the Army values. And what is consistent with the Army values? Is it on-the-spot correction an Army value? Because that's what they do, right? How many times have you seen leaders? Actually, we have seen leaders as well. And you've seen it on Facebook. How many times have leaders done mass text before for putting out information? Fuck, man, I wish I had that when I was a platoon sergeant. I'm badass. So, anywho. All right, so we're going to take a break right quick because we got our guest coming up soon. And we want to get them all set up.
The bearded legend.
The legend of the beard. So, Chad Garland. So, he's going to come on and shoot the shit with us. So, with that, everyone get some shots, and we'll be right back. Shouts.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio. Shit.
here determined to stop this future atrocity.
Is there a reason for us to make this thing still stay alive? This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
And we're back. WTFNationRadio.com's part 2 of, we're trying to connect with our guest right now, and then once we get our Skype drama fixed up, then he'll be on here in a second. You guys there? Can you hear me?
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
all I hear is this old man voice. Is
yeah,
that you?
old man voice. Hey, so he is using Skype Business. Skype for Business. He's not using Skype. Let him know you use Skype for Skype.
Well, how do you use Skype Business if you're trying to Skype with the Skype?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Is it Skype for Business is different than Skype? Or is it the same? I don't know. It just says Skype for Business. Is that two different types of little Skypeys there?
I think they're being beardist. I don't think they want that much beard on the air.
It's the beard. It's got to be the beard, man. Let me see. Try this right here. Choose. No. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, we're gonna get this hooked up, man. I'll talk to the beard. So, anyways, let me see.
We have already people chanting in the Facebook on the Facebook comments. We want Chad. We want
Chad. I know, man.
The torches are lit.
The torches are lit,
man.
Lit like a freaking T-shirt in SR Majors Academy.
Boom.
Let me see. Yeah, let me try something. Let me try something else. Let me see. While that is happening, I could do other things too. Hang on. Let me see what happens if I do this. Because I know the team does their own stuff. And let's see, maybe I could jump on here. Is he answering the emails there, Spinks?
Yes, and yes, he is reading mine.
Okay. All right, let me see. There we go. All right, so you guys, I guess I can, shit. I'm going to answer this, and then you guys call the station, well, call me. Call me at my ice one. How about that? Let's see if that works. All right? Because it's going to cut you guys off. WTF Nation Radio, you're on the air.
Hey, it's Chad.
Hey, what's up, Chad? Dude, man, is that beard like stopping us from having this great interview coming up? What's up with that?
I don't know. I think it might be some electronic interference. I don't know. Signal bouncing around in the beard.
Hey, we're trying to get the guys hooked up on here, so that way we're gonna try another method on here. So I got you on there, so that way you can shoot the shit with us and laugh as we stumble along this thing here. Let me see. So where are you calling us from right now?
I'm calling from Kaiserslautern, Germany.
You're Kaiserslautern, Germany.
Yep.
Okay. And so how long have you been in Deutschland?
I think I came back from Kabul on February 5th or something like that. So what does that make it? 2 months? Almost 3 months, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I live here. I've been living here since I started with Stripes, which is about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago.
Okay. All right. Well, because the guy that really wants to do the interviews with you and wants to get all the questions. Oh shit! You there, man?
Chad's still here. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. How about you? You still there? Hello? Hello?
Chad, I'm still here.
No, I know you're here. I'm trying to get Flash on here.
Okay.
Flash
That's
is
what I
being
thought you were
Flash.
asking for.
Oh no, you're good, dude. You're totally good. This is gonna be fun. We will keep going until we figure this freaking thing out. And we have all night, brother. How much time do you have?
I mean, pretty much all night.
Okay, cool.
I have to be at work in 5 hours. So.
Okay. Oh, okay. Can you hear me, Flash?
Can you hear me?
Oh shit! God dang, dude. Hang on, slow down. Hang on. This is gonna be fun. We will keep going until we. Okay, Flash, stop. Figure this freaking thing out. Shut me off, Flash. Shut me off. Can you hear me? Flash, you there? Flash. Okay, I guess not. All right, I guess you couldn't hear me. Oh, well, bummer. All right, well, we can only push one phone call right now, and it's just you and me, brother.
Okay.
So right now, Flash is freaking out. He's like freaking pounding the freaking desk right now on his keyboard because he's a journalist and he is all about the journalism stuff, and he wants to freaking. So, anyways, go ahead.
Murphy's Law, right?
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. No, I think it's because you're using Skype for Business and we're using normal Skype.
Oh, is that it?
Okay. Let me see. Hang on. Yeah. I know. I got my tone on.
I didn't realize there was that there was a difference in functionality or whatever.
I don't know either. You there, Flash? Flash, you there? Flash, can you hear me? Using Skype for Business.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hey. Yeah, I can hear you, man. All right. Okay. Yeah. I know. I got my tone on. All right.
Hello.
Flash.
It's me.
I didn't realize there was that.
Flash, you there?
There was a difference in functionality or whatever.
I don't know either.
Flash. You there, Flash?
Hello.
Flash.
You there? Good. Flash. Can you hear me?
Using Skype for Business.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Okay. This is getting out of control. All right. You still there? You're still there, Chad?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. Shit. Sorry about that, bro.
Okay.
All right. Okay, hang on. Let me tell everybody. Stop calling. Anyways, okay. So, tell us about yourself, Chad.
All right. Well, I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I was I guess most of your listeners probably know, like a 35 Papa, I think you guys call it, a cryptologic linguist. I was a Russian linguist in the Marine Corps for 5 years, and then did some government contracting for a while, and decided to use the old GI Bill and go back to school, and that's where I sort of discovered that I really enjoyed journalism, and went to grad school for that, and wound up in LA, and then somehow worked my way into Stars and Stripes, into a pretty cool job where I'm reporting on the troops, mostly Afghanistan and Iraq, going down there and reporting on events down there, and trying to cover the downrange situation. I've been doing that for about 2 years now, and that's about it. I mean, that's sort of the short story, and just happy for you guys to have me on the radio.
Well, yeah. So have you heard of us before? I mean, you know about us, right?
I knew about the Facebook page and everything like that. I didn't realize there was a radio program until you had my friend Fred Wellman on a couple of months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe last year.
Yep.
And around that same time, somebody was asking if I'd show up on come on the air with you guys. So, and I think we've been kind of missing each other, every couple of weeks or so.
To say the least. To say the least, yes. So now This is a Stars and Stripes question that I've always wanted to ask. Did you feel? I mean, what do you guys think of us? Like, just real quick, what do you think of? I mean, because we rarely hear anything about the Stars and Stripes. The Stars and Stripes is like, this is the first time we've ever had them on. So we were just kind of, I mean, just a curious question.
So you mean us, like the Army WTF moments?
Yeah. The organization in itself, like your organization and our organization, because obviously you guys are for deployed soldiers and soldiers stationed overseas. I was just out of curiosity, what do you guys think of the WTF organization?
I think, I'll say, first of all, for myself, I've heard of you guys. I knew of you guys. I've seen some different stuff on the website that I found really interesting. I find it really interesting the way soldiers and veterans will reach out to you guys with stuff that they don't seem to reach out to us with. So it's kind of you're a useful resource for us in that way, in that we can kind of gauge what's going on and maybe even sometimes get tipped to some stories. And in fact, you guys have been talking. I think I just heard on the last hour you guys were talking about USA recruiting, U.S. Army recruiting, and I think it was some. I've been listening to your show on a podcast as a podcast for the last month or so, and you were talking about with USA recruiting tipped me off to like looking more into that. And I ended up finding out on Reddit. I think it was on Reddit where I first found out that they told the recruiters not to use social media,
Correct.
not to use texting. I can't remember if you guys
Correct.
talked about it first or if I saw it on Reddit.
No, we talked about anything that that USAREC likes to throw out. Yes.
Yeah. So I saw that and I pursued it as a story and did a little story last week, I think. Based on sort of getting a tip from you guys and following up and seeing it on Reddit, and so that's very useful. I see that value in what you guys do, and I haven't like polled other Stars and Stripes reporters or anything like that, but definitely I think that's how we see you. We don't necessarily see you as I don't think anybody has any sort of judgment about you guys or anything like that, or I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but I think
no, it was just
treat it as
curiosity.
a resource, as a way to see what's going on in the lives of soldiers, which is of course very interesting to us in particular because we are the hometown paper, and so we try to cover the military as a community. That's the job I was in LA before I came here. I was covering the city of Burbank, and so I'm a sort of a war reporter on the one hand, but I'm also covering a community on the, I'm reporting to a community. So it's not the same as if I would be reporting like to the New York Times or something like that, where I'm reporting to the entire U.S. I see it more as the work we're doing is covering sort of war for the community. Of soldiers and airmen and Marines and sailors and so on. So
now, how is the Stars and Stripes set up? Is it set up as a multi? Is it a military organization? Is it a?
Yeah, so we're an interesting organization in that we are owned by the DoD. We are editorially independent by act of Congress. So DoD can't tell us what we can or can't publish in terms of news content. We're not allowed to have our own editorial, opinion position. But in terms of news content, the only thing we're restricted to, just because the government can't be publishing classified information, we can't publish classified, like WikiLeaks or something like that. We couldn't publish that, but so in that sense, we are a First Amendment newspaper, like any other newspaper. We can write about the stories. from the journalistically, you know, um, find out whether, you know, good or bad, warts and all that kind of thing. And so I'm, for example, a non-appropriated funds employee, which I think is like the same as like what an AFIS employee would be.
Gotcha.
Or something like that. And I have a government ID card and that sort of thing. And I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Oh no, perfect. That's answers because a lot of people don't like. Some people think that the Army Times, they try to correlate like you guys are sort of the pseudo the Army Times, and the Army Times is totally independent and a civilian run organization. So I was just curious, and a lot of the listeners had some curiosity to how it was set up. So if it's set up like non-appropriated funds and it's run like AFI, so that means it has a chain of command. Then it has a commanding officer.
Yeah. For example, here in Germany, you know, the business side of the paper is run by an Air Force lieutenant colonel. So you know, this gets into sort of how newspapers are run, both, you know, in the civilian world as well. That there's a business side. There are the people who you know, are responsible for bringing in the advertising, and there's, you know, a long history, a tradition that the business side doesn't interfere with the editorial side in terms of determining, you know, what stories will be published or what stories will be pursued. So you can't, for example, buy a big ad and be like, now you can't report on us because we're an ad customer. So
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to lose our business, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it works similar way for us. Like I said, the DoD can't tell us what we can or can't publish, or what stories we can or can't pursue. And we do, I forgot to mention, we do have soldiers, airmen, Marines, public affairs folks, you know, sailors who you get assignments to write for Stars and Stripes, to report for Stars and Stripes. So we've got a guy in Bahrain who's a sailor. We've got a soldier in England. I'm trying to remember where we have everybody, but we've got about, I think if I remember right, about 6 service members here just in Europe and the Middle East who write for us, who you know, they come from the PAO world, but they don't operate as PAOs when they work for us. They operate as journalists with the same sort of standards as I do as a civilian journalist. Of you know, they're not pushing out command. They're not the command voice. They're not pushing out command information. They're pursuing stories journalistically.
So are they? So speaking. So then that means you guys are more tuned in with no command information, or it varies within whatever your chief says. Your boss, when your boss says, "Hey, does there some sort of murder board or something like that? This is going to be the week's worth of stories. Here's how we're going to do it. You know, don't piss off first cav, whatever. You know what I mean? Is that kind of like the line? How it works normally?
No. So we're not the command information, you know, outlet. So, and you know, I'll get I guess I'll just use myself as an example. Although I'm, you know, because I'm covering downrange, it's a little bit different than we have how the reporters work here in Germany, covering, you know, the Army garrison here or the air base here. But you know, we might get press releases, or we might get information from different commands in terms of, here's a story you might be interested in, or that kind of thing. But it's up to us. You know, I independently choose my story, and I have a civilian editor who you know, gives me the yay or nay on the story, and it's there's an editorial, you know, folks in editorial back in the States who are above my editor, who might give direction, but it's not coming from anybody in CENTCOM. Nobody in, you know, Iraq or Afghanistan can tell me you can't pursue this story, you can pursue that story, or whatever. For example, I did a story about the hospital in Bagram. That was one of the last stories I reported when I left Afghanistan. I left in, like I think I said earlier, February. So, it was a situation where I contacted the PAO and I said, "Hey, I'd like to do a story about, what do you got going on in Bagram that I could come up there for, that you could accommodate me for." And she said, "Well, come up to the hospital. It's a good example of soft power. Our use of soft power in Afghanistan, in helping the Afghan troops, and occasionally, or whenever the opportunity arises, in helping, wounded Taliban. We treat them as well, that sort of thing." And so I went up there and I reported that story, and I reported it in my own way. So her pitch was soft power. What I ended up finding out was, through comments that the colonel in charge of the hospital on Bagram, the comments that he made were, we're preparing for, for a bloodier. He didn't use that word, but we're preparing for more injuries, more business, so to speak, in the coming spring because of the intensity of the fight. So that was my story, and it wasn't what she wanted, but nobody put the clamp down on us over that. It was, just like it would be if the Washington Post or any other entity that's operating in Afghanistan right now were to go report a story. They get a pitch, they go report it, they report what they see and whatever they think, the story is. Obviously it has to be true, but it's not propaganda. It's not determined by here's the message we'd like to get out.
Yeah. I was just curious because I know some commands, when a Stars and Stripes reporter showed up when I was deployed, they were always, "Ooh, yeah, go hang out with the PAO." You know what I mean? And then that would be it. And that was my only run-in with the Stars and Stripes reporter was in Baghdad.
Yeah.
And it was I'm here, I can't remember the guy's name, so-and-so from Stars and Stripes, and like, oh, yeah, okay, so-and-so from Stars and Stripes, go talk to the PAO, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know how much that happened with other outlets and in your experience, or if you ever had any experience with any other outlets. But from what I understand, I mean, that's happened to me. I went to cover they're building up a base outside of Mosul during the ISIS fight there last spring around this time. And so I went and I got the tour with a PAO, and it was, here, talk to this guy, here, talk to that guy. And they were all, of course, people that the PAO had set up ahead of time. And it's much more so that way, as I understand it, than it was, talking to people who were here with Stars and Stripes 5 or 6 or 10 years ago. There was an opportunity, at least in Iraq and Afghanistan, where you could sort of just glom on to a different unit. You might see a unit in a chow hall and here they're going to do something cool, and you could kind of weasel maybe not weasel your way, but you could find yourself a way into you make inroads into that unit and go out with them or see what they do, in real time. And it doesn't quite happen that way anymore. I think partly because there's a lack of PAO resources downrange, and I think, sadly, a lack probably of journalists compared to what it was. You can almost probably count on one hand the number of news outlets that, at least U.S. or international news outlets, that have folks permanently in Kabul right now. And Stars and Stripes is one of them. We live out in town in Kabul, and we cover, nobody at Resolute Support, U.S. Forces Afghanistan, or anything like that says you can go here, you can't go there, or anything like that. I mean, other than, accommodating us coming onto base or something like that.
So you're basically cordoning off in the area where more than likely foreign journalists would be at, and then you're left to your own devices.
Pretty much, yeah. Yep.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's frustrating because we want to obviously we look at it as our audience and our um, the community. Like I said, we're sort of like a community paper in this. The community that we cover is sort of separated from us by sort of barrier of public affairs. Whereas like when you're covering a city, yeah, the city government maybe has public affairs and so forth to kind of put up a barrier between you and the public officials you're sort of hounding for information.
Yeah, really.
But everyday citizens, you can go knock on their door, you can call them up or whatever, and you don't have that same capability, at least downrange, to cover the folks, the community. Um, Here, obviously, in Germany and I imagine in the Pacific, where we also have reporters, it's a little bit easier. We have ID cards. We can go on base. We can freely talk to folks on base and stuff like that. But it's amazing the stuff you miss out on when you can't even go to like a DFAC whenever you want to kind of just you know shoot the shit with people. And
Yeah, I was about to say, doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose? You're supposed to be there for the troops, but you're not there for the troops, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it defeats the purpose, but it
Yeah.
certainly makes our job harder.
It does, I bet. God, man, that's frustrating as shit.
Yeah, I mean, we find ways to make it work. Back in December, I was supposed to be covering something related to the Army Corps of Engineers, and weather being what it was, we got trapped. Not trapped, but we were stuck on Bagram because the smoke over Kabul was too dense, so they couldn't fly us back down to Bagram, and so I got to just bum around sorry, they couldn't fly us down to Kabul, so I got to bum around on Bath for like 3 days, and I ended up hearing about some Joes that were up there getting an award. They had been involved in a roadside bombing in Kandahar, just off base in Kandahar, and they were getting I forget what they were getting, RCOMs, I think, and so I got to talk to them right as they were getting, got to go over to the PAX terminal in Bagram and talk to them and get the scoop on what they experienced and why they were getting the awards, and got a good story out of it, and got to talk to some guys who were I think sergeants and maybe a specialist. So that when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was a corporal, and so that's a really important thing to me, is to try to get the voices of the E4s and E5s
Exactly.
and folks like that, and not just the O5s and O6s.
Oh my God, I know. Because they want to, because they don't want to be caught on, the record by saying something wrong, and then it gets back to DC, and then the next thing you know, they're getting relieved.
Right.
It'd be like that one movie. What's the thing, that Netflix series, War Machine?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
They don't want nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to be the Brad Pitt version of McChrystal.
Right.
So, hey, real quick, how long did it take for you to grow that beard, bro?
Well, so that picture is actually old. That picture's from when I was still at the LA Times. That was that I think was at 2 years. So it's actually a bit longer. I've been growing it for 4 years now, but it still looks mostly the same. The rest of the length usually gets tucked into my t-shirt. But I started growing it on July 4th of 2014. So I should probably call it like my freedom beard or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, that is a beaut. Oh man. Hey, so speaking of beards, we saw on Twitter that you're looking for people who are of the Norse religion. So how are you developing that story?
Yeah, well, nothing much has happened with that. Got a lot of retweets on Twitter, but yeah, I don't know. I was partly, I'm just curious. I'd like to talk to folks. I know there's obviously since I was in the early 2000s, beards were really, I mean, I think, I don't even know if we really knew that like special operations folks had beards, or if it was just kind of a like a thing you saw in Hollywood movies like Black Hawk Down or something like that.
Yeah.
And then now it feels like it's a much more
They're used to it now.
the military culture is much more open to beards and,
Yeah.
and everything. And so this story about the guy converting to, or not, he didn't convert, sorry.
He was
but
a
the guy
heathen.
who got the exemption to be able to grow his beard sounded really interesting. And I was
Well,
curious
there's two.
if anybody would be motivated.
Yeah, there's two. There's actually two. One in the special operations community, and then that guy. He's an MP that they got there, and he's one is heathen, and the other one is Abrahamic. So those are the two, I guess, legit beard growing religions, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Which to me, I think is groundbreaking. I'm kind of glad that there's some leadership out in the Army that's, I don't know, looking at things differently. I don't know. It's just, okay. Honestly, it's freaking cool. You know what I mean? I need to put in an exception. I mean, I'm not in any of those religions, but if it gets me to grow a beard, then hell yeah, let me do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, sort of selfishly, what I'm interested in it about also is, as I understand it, there's no good way to make a seal with a gas mask with a beard, but I don't know if I can't remember if he's called the defense minister or defense secretary, whatever, the version of Mattis is for the Canadians, is, I believe, I might get this wrong, but I believe he's Sikh, and he grows a beard, and I think he was in the Canadian military, and he patented some way of some device that would allow you to get a seal with a gas mask.
Really?
Wow, with a beard, but as far as I can tell, it's never been put into production. So I'm thinking if more people get these exemptions, maybe they'll start producing
exactly. Producing in a sin. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I told the team before that I've had some stubble when I was a first sergeant. I had to go do the PATS test. You know how they had to check the seal, and the new masks. I had a pretty decent shadow, and I was still able to maintain a seal with it. So I don't know, maybe it's because I had a weird shaped face or something like that or whatever. But yeah, I was just curious because I know that the community is now and people are now looking at it like at this point. The old dinosaurs of the Army that expected you to have no mustaches and no beards while you were on duty, or you want to leave, or I think are now starting to realize that, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? I think they're tired of fighting. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So you got a long list of stories that you're releasing pretty quick. How many stories do you usually have on the bench when you're busy? Like, do you write them and then I'll save that for more info, or how does your process for that go?
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, so when I'm I approach sort of Afghanistan and Iraq differently as well. So in Afghanistan, I'm probably writing 2 stories a week and working on. So there's usually at least one breaking story. A bombing or an attack or some sort always seems to happen, like almost on a weekly basis, and then I'm probably working on something that's a little less of a breaking or spot, what we call spot news, sort of a situation, and then I'll probably have a third thing sort of that I'm maybe gathering threads for, and then I've got a list, just an ongoing list. I don't know. I probably have 10 story ideas or 10 sort of like teasers for myself about what kind of story I might want to do, and those might pop up in priority depending on what I'm able to get or what's happening that day. Like there's a SIGAR quarterly report, Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction. They usually come out. They have quarterly reports that usually come out ding the military on something or another, or they update, how much control the Taliban has over different districts and things like that. And so that there might be a story I'm holding on to that I've got almost all the pieces for, but I'm waiting for the latest, official information. And so I might need to wait for that CIGAR quarterly report to drop. And there's one about to drop tomorrow. And so there might be something in there that I'll finally be able to put something out. But see, my process is just sort of like, it's kind of hit or, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. It's a little bit sporadic, I guess. And would, would love to get more tips from soldiers or from anybody in the service about things that are going on. Because I've been out of Afghanistan and not, it's a little bit harder to cover the day to day from here in Kaiserslautern. I've had to dig for a couple other stories that aren't necessarily really on my beat. So I had I talked to a couple of warrants when I was in Kandahar back in late January, and they had mentioned something about training. And so when I saw there was some movement on the effort to streamline training, and I was able to get something and push out a story. And then just last week I think that the Secretary of the Army signed, you got rid of the accident avoidance course and and trip and all that stuff.
Yes. We
So
know.
I saw some tip on Reddit. Somebody was like, "Hey, check this out," and then I called a guy I knew, and he sent me not only the initial memo but additional memos, and we were able to put that story out. And that's not necessarily something I could have planned for. It wasn't necessarily something that was breaking news necessarily, but would love to have more troops get in touch when they see something interesting like that.
Oh no, it was a giant. It was the reason why you didn't hear from anybody, because everybody was breathing out. They were like, ah. That was a giant collective breathe. I guess it's not really a sigh, but just like we've been a final exhale of, and now there's three of them, because it was accidents avoidance, and then there was trips, and then it was the counter human trafficking one. I'm not saying that it's not important, but I'm just saying that those things were just mundane to the point where there were three enterprises that were playing along with it. So you had one version of it for the joint, you had JKO, AKO, and then you had your unit on what they did. So yeah, oh my God, unreal amount of freaking wasted time. It's just all those online things are a waste of time. So
well, because we are DoD employees, unlike probably most journalists, we actually have to do a lot of those as well.
Yeah, I was about to say,
you got to do counter human trafficking and everything.
And you got to do the SEER 500 or 100 or whatever the hell it's called.
I don't have to do SEER. That's one that's not on our list, but I'm very interested in that one, because that one I've heard several complaints about being a waste of time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's waste of time, big time. So real quick, what's been your favorite story that you've covered over the past year? Like the one that's like memorable for you that you'd say, yeah, I'm glad I got involved with.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's still within a year, but I'm still very proud of a story I did actually with Fred Wellman. I've known Fred actually for about 5 years. I met him when I was working on one of my first stories as a baby reporter, covering charities that basically scam people out of money in the name of veterans and service members. And so I've been following Fred on Twitter and Facebook for a while. And he was last year, after the fall of Mosul, or I guess in the process of Mosul being liberated, he was talking about when he had been at Guyara West near Mosul back in '03, and how he helped this village build schools and clinic and all this stuff. And he was afraid that he had heard that ISIS had basically executed almost everybody in the village. And I talked to his translator from that time, who's still on the run, basically from insurgents. He's living somewhere in Iraq. I won't say where, but I was able to communicate with him and get his version of things. And then we were able to go to the village, and we found out that the folks were not executed. Only about 4 had been killed, and they were 4 men who were in the security services. And it was just a cool experience to be able to report that story, because we showed up in the village unannounced, myself and two a driver and a translator, and when I told them Fred Wellman had talked to me, and they were like, "Oh, Fred, my friend,"
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
They brought us into their house,
Yeah.
and they brought us treats,
Yeah, got you some chow, some
cookies, and
tea,
stuff like
chai.
that,
Yep.
and they dragged out photo albums of their time with Wellman from, basically what, 14 years ago,
Yeah.
something like that. So that's still, I think, one of my favorite stories. Able to say, no, all these folks didn't die.
Yeah,
all that,
yeah,
all that.
exactly.
I mean, there were some heartbreaks in there, but not everybody died.
So, but I mean, that could have been. I mean, I would have to hear something like that, and then showing up and seeing more people than what you've expected was probably kind of uplifting for you too.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I mean, I couldn't imagine. So, do you have any other stories on the bench that you can preview for us that you're currently working on besides the exceptional policy for the beards?
Well, so I'm getting ready to go back to Afghanistan.
Okay.
Very, very soon. So I've kind of cleared the decks for most everything. I just wrote a story the other day about the Naval Support Unit, which is a very little known unit that does technical security work for the State Department, and that's something that's been on my books for longer than I care to say, trying to complete that piece. So, but I'm still very interested in the training piece, especially as that affects troops downrange who have to keep up with any of that stuff and how it impacts readiness. And so I'm digging around on that. I may have a story on that before I go to Afghanistan. And what else am I working on? That I can talk about.
That's okay. Well, I'm glad you brought up about the training. So have you been able to get involved and discuss anything with the SVABs, with the Security Force Assistance Brigades? Have you been able to?
I have not. I left, like I said, in February. I don't think they actually had troops on the ground there in Afghanistan until later that month, or they might have been there, but I didn't know when I was leaving. And my colleague who's there now in Kabul, I don't think has done anything has had any opportunity to get with the SFABs. So I'm hoping to be able to do that when I go back downrange. But why? What are you hearing? What do I need to be aware of?
Well, I mean, it's a new. First off, it's a new organization,
right?
And the Security Force Assistance Brigade is pretty much taking over the helm of training. I guess you would say for internal defense, training up security forces, indigenous security forces up from the special operations guys. And so their deployment's coming up, or they're deployed, and I don't even think anybody has captured any of the lessons learned or any of the successes, because the way they went about recruiting, the way they went about, I mean, just from the beginning all the way to the end to their deployment, it was, I thought, because I've been in the Army for several decades, it was pretty fast. They I think surpassed even USAREC and the Special Operations Recruiting Battalion and how they recruited the personnel to go to be a part of this organization. It's just the way they did it. It's offering incentives and bonuses, exemptions to their professional military development. So that way, if they completed a tour with the SVAB, then they would be considered exceptionally qualified for promotion without having to do the standard, the platoon sergeant drill or whatever. So they were involved in those organizations. So I'm fascinated about it because I guess, being the fact that I'm old, I still like new shit. So if you know what I mean. So if it's something new and it's got gadgets and gee whiz and maybe it'll work, let's try it. I believe in that type of innovation. Chief of Staff and General Perkins did say that the Army's mad scientists are out there, then let's push it. And I think the SVAB is some of the they got their own kit. Now, granted, every other unit when they first start up is, I guess you'd say, needs to get their legs, needs to get their feet, their sea legs.
Mhm.
But I'm just curious if you're down there to grab them a story, or maybe we can chat later. Online and see if I can throw some names at you, so that way you can say and just tell them I sent you, or else.
All right.
Otherwise,
I heard you guys talking about, I guess, a couple weeks ago about this, or I don't know how old it was. I was listening to it as a podcast, and I was interested. You were talking about special forces having difficulties recruiting, but the SFABs sort of showed them how it's done. That was kind of an interesting little bit. I'd like to know more about, I guess. Yeah, so I'm very curious as well about how they're working, and I've heard some stories that they don't really have things figured out about how to put them in place. At least in Afghanistan, about sort of the infrastructure, I guess.
Well, it's just fascinating because think of every new branch that's been in the Army, like Special Forces or aviation. That they all started kind of lumbering along before they finally got it right. So this, to me, it's I think it's awesome. So maybe like I said, you should link up with those guys down range, and it'll because we make fun of them. I mean, because also that's our nature too. We poke fun at everybody, but it's all in good jest. But these guys, I've actually sat down and looked at some of the metrics that they've had, and the way they went about their dissemination of information is just fascinating. I'm like, wow, these guys went from just a concept to them getting razzed by the whole Army, and now they're stood up. They got incentives going. They got bonuses going. And they're deploying.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's like, from what we heard about it, was like not even 2 years. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I think the big story when they were leaving was that they hadn't quite had enough training before they sent them on to Afghanistan.
Well, because here's the thing, the when you're getting involved with something like that, there's no, only because in my line of work, I've been in the Army forever. I've done like security assistant stuff before, and so it's not. You just can't go to a school and say, okay, here you go, let's do it. It doesn't work that way. It is an actual. It's almost like the functionality of your organization being successful is you doing it. It's not you going to a school, ta-da, and you're experts. You know what I mean? So it's just the way I see it. That would be some. Like I said, afterwards, I already tried to hit you up on Facebook too, so that way we can get connected, and I'll throw you some names of who you could talk to, and then if there's anybody that I can help assist massage those link ups, I can. And then if anything else, there's there's an SVAB being stood up here at Fort Hood, or was it Fort Bragg? I can't remember. But anyways, so yeah, standing up. There's who knows? All I know is that they're creating more SVABs.
yeah, it's a moving target. They're building up. Yeah.
But so everyone is talking about the DMA. What do you think of the DMA structure, the Defense Media Activity structure?
So I don't have a lot of visibility on that. Technically, Stars and Stripes falls under them. It's way beyond anything that affects my life in any way that I can see. Um, you know, I couldn't really say. Now I feel guilty because I don't know anything about the bigger organization above Stars and Stripes. But
you mean there's a hierarchy? Shit, is that how are they really under? They're under the DMA, really?
yeah, Stars and Stripes falls under DMA in some weird way. Yeah, we're in there somewhere.
Awesome. So what are you what are you seeing in the future? As far as your opinion of Afghanistan, what are you seeing in the future?
I don't know. It's I hesitate to make too many statements about the future because I actually just tweeted earlier. So today we had the second American killed in action so far this year.
Yeah.
When I was in Afghanistan, when news came out of the first death of the year, which was on the 1st of January, and based on that, and my conversations with the folks at Bagram at the Roll 3 Theater there, I sort of expected things to get worse earlier than it has. So my my prediction, my ability to make predictions is maybe not the best. But it feels. I mean, I feel like things are kind of getting worse in places like Kabul in a way that makes me uncomfortable. Obviously, there's an election coming up. They're trying to prepare for it. I think some people have some serious doubts about how that's going to play out, whether that will play out well for the Afghans. And in the longer term, something that I can't wrap my head around really is, we're pushing for reconciliation with the Taliban. What happens when we reconcile? We already know from 16 years of experience what the situation is in terms of corruption and things like that. So we're giving them all these weapons. We're giving them A-29s and Black Hawk helicopters and all this kind of stuff. And when we pull out, it gets to the point where we're like, okay, things are cool here. We can pull out. Like, what measures are in place?
Yeah, that's my question too.
To keep those things from falling into the hands of the Taliban.
Yeah, exactly. Or some of the guys turning coat and saying, I'm part of the Taliban now. I'm going to fly this Black Hawk around and do some stuff with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the strategy of the Taliban is there. I mean, they're playing hard to get in terms of coming to the peace table, but maybe they're not thinking about this. But I'd be thinking, how do I get my guys? Maybe we should come to the peace table. Play nice for a couple of years, get our guys all trained up in these nice new weapons and things like that, and then and then we start another civil war.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's just one of those things where we are falling into what they call the graveyard of empires, Afghanistan. Right. So I mean, only because I am a conspiracy theorist and all that stuff anyway. So it's just me. Hey, so how tight are the journalists of the Stars and Stripes with other organizations like CNN or Fox or AP or Reuters? Do you guys all kind of hang out and exchange notes, or is it kind of like you're with the military guys, so we're not going to talk to you? How are they? Is there something like a snooty contest? You know what I mean? Could you kind of think, I'm part of Reuters, you're really Stars and Stripes, indeed. You know what I mean? So do you guys actually collaborate and talk or whatever, or do you just kind of like, that's it? You guys just don't?
It's I would say for the most part it's collegial. We're seeing, so when I came to Stars and Stripes, I had worked in Salem, Oregon for the AP briefly right after grad school, and my boss had been an AP reporter in Bosnia, and so I posted something on Facebook about wanting to go to, looking at taking a job with Stars and Stripes. And he messaged me right away. He said, those folks at Stars and Stripes are great. A lot of them had worked at the AP, or he had known, had gone to Stripes after the AP, or he had known them. And he's like, don't worry, there's no there's no, they're straight up, they're not propagandists or whatever. They're not just towing the line. And you can feel confident, from a journalistic standpoint. And I've found that most journalists understand and feel the same way and understand how we work. There are some papers that I feel kind of look down their noses at us, but I think they may look down their noses at everybody who aren't them. So
yeah, of course.
And we have a reporter, Josh Smith, who was with Stars and Stripes for like 3 years. He left right before I came to Stripes in 2016, and he's with Reuters. So and hung out with him. He was still in Kabul for a while, and I hung out with him there. There's an the AP bureau chief, Lynn O'Donnell, who was in Kabul when I first got there. I consider a close friend, and she was very, very good to us. Yeah, so for the most part, in my experience, most journalists respect us, and yeah, it's not as tight in Kabul among the journalists as it once was. I think when there were dozens of journalists there, but we still stick together. It's a little bit tough because we're in and out so frequently. At least I am. So it's kind of like you're seeing old friends whenever you come back to visit. But,
gotcha. No, I was just curious if there was like I wouldn't say like there's a, because there's some, there's some reporters that I have met that they kind of have like their little foot, I don't want to say foot soldiers, but they're little ends, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they're connected to, and then there's some, like you said, that I've seen that are just straight, and they're like, wow, dude. So who's your favorite journalist you like to read outside of the Stars and Stripes?
Well, yeah, I like so many. In Kabul, the New York Times journalist Mujib Mashal does really fascinating work. A lot of times he covers stories that we wouldn't cover with Stars and Stripes because they're much more about the culture or about the sort of the politics, the Afghan side of that, whereas we'd be more interested in obviously military and security. And he's just done some really interesting stuff. He did a piece, it's been a while now, but I really found it interesting about kids hanging out in one of the cemeteries there. So I really enjoy reading his work. I maintain a list on Twitter of veterans, military veterans who are working in the media, and so a lot of times I'll read a lot of their work. And Jim Laporta, former Marine, obviously C.J. Chivers, who's a New York Times reporter, T.M. Gibbons-Neff, he was at Washington Post and now he's at New York Times. Those guys do great stuff. Yeah, honestly, I tend to read a lot of veterans who are working in the media, and
that's cool.
I think I'd like to see more military folks get into the media, because I think we bring a lot of different perspectives. There's a lot of people have the opinion that the media is this bastion of like liberal ideology. And I wouldn't say that in my experience that's what it is, but I come from a fairly conservative background, and I do feel like my perspective or my life experiences, having that conservative background, having parents who are conservative, you coming from a town where I think which is a lot, in the Midwest is a lot more conservative. I do feel that there's that difference in perspective that I bring, and of course my experience in the military, I was a linguist, so I didn't do a lot of shooting, didn't work with weapons very much, but what little experience I have, I think is very helpful and is something is a skill set or a familiarity that I'm sure any of your listeners who is a gun enthusiast, firearms enthusiast, knows how sort of ate up the media coverage of weapons can be sometimes.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You're talking about the bayonet chainsaw and the and the bump stock, which is imitating a jackhammer motion with a buttstock.
Right, exactly. So so I think having more veterans, and those are just sort of some, in my experience, military folks tend to be more conservative or more diverse. I mean, obviously there are still folks who are liberal or of all kinds of different persuasions, sort of politically, in the military. They should go into the media as well. But I do feel like there are a lot of folks in the in the military who either have that sort of conservative background, that knowledge of weapons, knowledge of things that that reporters just don't. I mean, I don't have any sort of tactical experience. I never deployed, so I don't even have the deployment experience from when I was in the military. So a lot of that I'm getting. Yeah, I have a basic level of military, of understanding sort of how the military works and rank structure and some stuff like that that I bring to this job. But there's a lot of this job that I'm having to learn by going out there. And so, but obviously somebody from the military who gets into the media with the variety of their experiences brings something to their ability to cover aspects of American life or aspects of international affairs that I think is really important.
Yeah, because we're not seeing the diplomatic State Department / business suit level of diplomacy and being in the military. You know what I mean? We're at the end of it pretty much. We're at the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way anyone can call we can call bullshit on somebody when they say something's happening on the ground because we were actually there doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you had? Now you mentioned that about what do you? I mean, I know everyone's got a different approach or a different path to how to get to where you're at. What would you recommend? Like, say, hey, I want to go ahead and do a journalist. I want to be a journalist. What would be the best advice for this?
Yeah, well, I should say anybody who wants to contact me on Twitter who wants more like personalized advice about this, please feel free at Chad Garland. But the way I went into it, I knew I liked writing, but I didn't know whether I liked journalism. And so I went back to college on the GI Bill. I needed to use the GI Bill anyway before it expired. And I worked at a college newspaper and decided I liked it. And then I pursued grad school because I was 32, I think, at that point. I was 30 when I went back to finish my bachelor's. I was 32 when I went, 32 or 33 when I went to grad school. So I needed grad school to get that boost, to get me ahead career-wise, to kind of get me where I needed to be as a mid-30s journalist. But not, if you're coming out after a one enlistment, coming out as a 22, 23-year-old, you might not need even, and you're a good writer, you may not even need a bachelor's degree. You just need to start writing wherever you can get a chance. I mean, right now, New York Times brought back their At War blog, which is a great place. In the past has been a great place for military writers to put out their stuff. Some of it journalistic, some of it more fictional, not fictional, but more creative. I met a guy, Air Force EOD guy, Brian Kastner, who's been a real great friend that I met last time I was in Erbil, Iraq, and that's where he got his start. And he's written, I think, 3 books. Actually, wow. I don't know if he got a start on the At War blog, but anyway, he has written for them, and he's written like 3 books, and he's doing pretty well. And so that's a way to get started. Writing for there right now, it's tough because newspapers are shrinking. People aren't reading like they used to, but I have to imagine there are editors out there who are looking for well-written, solid copy. So if you want to get a start, that's the way to do it. Try to freelance some stuff, and I think the most important thing is to start writing, and then you might need college, you might need grad school. Those things probably don't hurt. It just depends on your ability to pay for it. If you've got the GI Bill and you can afford it, you can spend the time on it. It probably wouldn't hurt to do those things as well.
No, of course. I mean, if it's free money for education, go for it.
Right. And obviously mentorship. Like I said, find me on Twitter. There are plenty of other journalists on Twitter who I think would be happy to help. Military veterans who'd be happy to offer mentorship, offer advice.
Oh no, we're everyone's oogling over your beard, man. I think they're gonna stick with you. The beard of all beards. Hey, Chad, thanks for coming on, man. We totally appreciate you. And like I said, our PAO Flash we'll get with you later on for further discussions or any story sharing or whatever, man. We're more than happy to shoot the shit with you about that, man.
That's awesome, man. I'm sorry he didn't get to ask.
Oh no, well, we've been both tag teaming the question. So he would ask a question in one of the chats, and then I would ask it, and then I would ask my own question. So, in spirit, he was here. All right, brother. Well, hey, thanks for calling, man. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right, you too, guys.
All right, that was Chad Garland, the big beard, for the Stars and Stripes. We totally appreciate you coming on and shooting the shit with us. This is awesome. We're going to take a quick break right now, and then because we are way over time, but hey, the questions started flowing and we were all good to go. We pinned the comment for at Chad Garland Twitter, so if you guys need to get information or something like that, more than happy to come on there and shoot the shit with him. He sounds like he's a good dude. Well, dude, that beard, epic. So we'll be right back. Shots.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We'll be sexist. We'll offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.
Tell me what it is to see when you look at me deep into the photography. I don't really need your sympathy, just tell me your thoughts. Have I got what they got, and is it a plot done for naught? Am I not like you because I do what I do? Who knew that I could lose a few of you cause I bleed blue? But it's true, I know cause I see it every day as I work and I sleep the day away. Like you I have pain and like you I have fear. Can I pay all of the bills and still make it through the year? Will I make it home alive? Should I pray to the sky every day and every night? Will I hold you by my side? But in the public eye, I don't even have a heart. A robot of the system moving only when I'm told to start. Rip apart my art, I'm strong like a flower blooming. You got it all wrong, I know I'm breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
Call me a vet like a soldier. Green Beret, 21 gun salute, don't wanna see today. In a constant war zone, in the home of the brave, where they hate the police until they saving the day. I got kids like you, a mortgage like you, so blue lives matter, and so does yours too. All this separation and divide, open your eyes. If you cut us all open, we the same inside. The only difference is I run to the gunfight. Your peace when it's chaos, when the people don't act right. But I'm under scrutiny for trying to protect me. You pull a pistol and I'm shooting for trying to contest me. I got a quick second to make a deadly decision. The media betray me like a kid for a living, like I'm cold with no heart, a brain with no thoughts, a body with no feeling, a life with no cause.
Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go for my throat. They speak spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed inside of a box like I'm inside Fort Knox. Every time that I'm there, I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see, and like you need, I need, and like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
The bitches, they love visuals.
Sanctuary I provide.
U.S. Army WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back. That's right, cause I always remember, fish are friends, not food. So, anywho, we're back. That was a good interview. So
yeah, it was a good interview.
It was pretty in depth. It was kind of cool. Me and Flash were tag teaming the questions. We will figure this shit out. So, anyways. Real quick, there was a story that we wanted to cover before, but we figured because of all the stuff that we were talking about earlier and it ran into the guest, now we can talk about it now. Okay, there was an issue that happened. Let me pull this up here. Not that one. So what happened is that there was a you want to talk about the Veterans Hospital?
Yes. So I've been dying to tell this story because I don't know. So there's a lot of things that takes us, it takes a bit to really piss me off. But what's been going on with these VA hospitals across the country, like while this one thing we're talking about is in one location, the VA across the board, I feel, is failing the veteran community. So a Veteran Affairs clinic in Salt Lake City, Utah, has launched an investigation after a father of an Army veteran posted photos of unsanitary conditions in a patient's room his son was seen in. This was reported through a local NBC affiliate that first reported it. In the pictures, medical supplies are open on the counter. Garbage is overflowing with disposable bed pads and what appears to be plaster for casts are sitting open. There's blood on a couple things. It's disgusting. There's first sergeants that are probably looking at this picture like freaking out that this isn't squared away. The Christopher Wilson, who is an Iraq War veteran, told KSL, the NBC affiliate, I figured they would say, "Oh, this room's not clean," and take me somewhere else. But they just kind of blew past it, didn't acknowledge it. They're doctors, right? So I figured one of them were going to say, hey, let's go somewhere else. Give us a minute to clean it, but nothing. Now they've updated it. Now, Dr. Karen Gibbons, the chief of staff of the George E. Whalen Department of Veteran Affairs Medical Center in Salt Lake City, Utah, reportedly told the TV station Saturday that Wilson should not have been placed in that room. The problem I have is that this is not an isolated thing. It is not just a one area problem. We've seen over the last couple of years, especially the last 2 years, a overwhelming underwhelming of VA services. How many stories do we have to have where people are literally, going to epileptic shock on in a VA hospital, or undertreated, or being taken out, or being pushed out? I mean, when is the veteran community really going to take a stand? We show outrage how the VA treats veterans, and it's not just a one. We have lines upon lines of people just trying to get appointments that take sometimes years of life-saving medical screenings and everything. The VA doesn't even have their head of the VA, because if everyone remembers,
let me start on that one.
Gentleman,
oh yeah,
that whole story with now he's not the admiral. I think wasn't he admiral, or was he like admiral, one step away from being an admiral?
Yeah, he was recommended for admiral. Yeah, rear admiral.
And he was the personal physician of the president. Was put into place by President Obama, and then President Trump kept him on. Who apparently does not set the greatest example. Not only took himself out of running for the VA secretary job, but is now not even going back to that job. So we don't even have a VA, VA secretary. And then another exit from a VA senior leader, Dr. Amy Farrenkolf, the acting deputy undersecretary for health and CommuniCare. Today was her last day according to an email sent to VA employees from the acting Undersecretary of Health. The VA, to me, this is Flash's opinion, is failing the veteran community from the top down. The hospital is just the latest atrocity, and I will say atrocity because veterans, while we have endured nasty conditions, we've endured blood, sweat, dirt, everything. We've taken showers we've taken showers in places we never want to talk about again. We've had to shit through MRE boxes. We've had to live and work in not great environments because that is the nature of our job.
Shit in a bag, Poe.
That's what we do to kick ass. What we should not have to do, especially to those who are out of military service and are disabled or just seeking VA medical care, should we stand for unsanitary conditions or the lack of caring, it seems, by most VA facilities. Now, there are those that are still going above and beyond, and I give those credit. But more so, there are those that are failing the VA community. I don't know what's going to take for the veteran community to actually. Are we just so like we're used to being shitted on from like as soon as we sign a contract until we get out that we're just like, we'll deal with it. I mean, we have our, Vietnam vets, not getting treatment for stuff because there's such long lines, or being, it seems like every month there's at least 2 or 3 stories about how the VA's failing us. And now even the top is bailing out because there's no secretary for the VA. And now they're dropping people off leadership because they don't want to be a part. They don't want to have their name attached to this. And on the lower level, we have instances like this in Salt Lake City where a Iraq veteran is put into a room that is not taken care of, not clean, not sanitary for him. That kind of shit causes infections. That kind of shit gets you
so
sick.
if you guys think that Flash and I are getting on our fucking soapbox and this is too much, let me direct your attention to the Facebook Live and all the other screens that we have going on, and you will see the room that individual is left in to be seen. Now, I don't know about you. He could have been seen for anything. But would you have liked to have been seen in a room like that? That's a
Hell no.
Hell no, dude. That's a VA. That's a VA hospital right there, man. I mean, normally, what I've seen in an environment like that. Now they just said, a casting was just done. That room is normally closed off until rehab complete, and then that's it. And then it's re-sterilized and all that. Because they said it was there to make a cast, but you could clearly see the bed sheets used. You could see the overflowing stuff right there. You could see all that. Ugh.
I've seen higher standards in hospitals downrange. I've seen higher standards in the little clinics on Fort Hood and Fort Bragg and Fort Irwin. I've seen better standards in the talk than in there. That's something that's unacceptable. Granted, hopefully there's no, you don't see, right now I don't see any needles. I don't see anything that, could be like, all of a sudden this guy's going to get, get hep C or something from this. But you have to wonder, what kind of standards does this VA in Salt Lake City keep that even for, even this, they can't even get it ready for the next person the correct way, the sterile way, because this guy deserves it. I mean, this guy deserves to be taken care of, at least medical wise for this VA hospital. And this for me is what I see the VA across the board.
That's what I'm saying.
Is they're going the bare minimum, and even then they can't even meet the standard.
We haven't even gotten we have right now all this bickering back and forth between our politicians are the reason why there is no VA secretary right now. Everybody wants to wait until the last minute or be nitnoid. Now, the way I see it, Admiral Jackson got screwed. And if you've never held anybody to, if I were to be held onto the standards of what I've done when I was a private, then damn. You know what I mean? Everyone's talking about, well, this happened here and this happened there. Nobody came up, nobody brought it up, and now all of a sudden it's an issue. Now, not only is he not going to be the secretary of the VA, but now he's been removed from being the president's physician.
And now we have to wait for another dog and pony show
Yeah.
for someone to be nominated and go through. And
Exactly.
And here's some problems right now that the reason why we need a VA secretary in there ASAP. Um, there's so many vacancies across. Aside from vacancies at the top, the VA healthcare system is short more than 30,000 clinical staff. Said Philip Carter, a senior social scientist at Rand Corporation. That includes thousands of unfulfilled positions for doctors, nurses, mental health therapists on the front lines of helping lower the high rate of veteran suicides, which is right now 20 per day. They also need to update the VA's, medical keeping system. I mean, I don't understand how the VA, which is a giant organization, can be so behind the times. But they have to do everything in their system. VA medical records is printed out and retyped into the VA system. It's expensive, it's slow, it creates errors, and it's the backbone of the veteran experience with the VA.
Well, I mean, guy, WTF Nation, don't forget we still have a veterans representative. So if you go to contact us, contact our VA rep, we still have one. So I guess we've been neglected in doing that for house cleaning. But if there's any issues that you've had with your claims, our VA rep will be able to respond to you to give you assistance. Obviously, we don't know what the detail is. So if you click on that, none of us at WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments will have ever known that you used it at all. And once you click send and submit or whatever, and it goes off to the VA rep doesn't come back and give us any reports. That's just it. We don't even we're there. We provided that link for you guys, so that way if there's anything that you guys need to handle, it could be a complaint. It could be something that needs to be brought to somebody's attention. That would be the avenue to which you would use, would be the contact our VA rep on WTFNationRadio.com at contact us. So that way you guys can get, I mean, like you were saying, Flash, you can get that quality freaking care that you deserve, that you've earned as a veteran. A lot of people will say that this is too whatever. It's just an isolated incident, until it happens to you. Then it's no longer an isolated incident. At that point, that's fucking circle.
That guy's too nice.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now. If I walked in that, I'd be like, "So, do you want me to come back in a couple minutes, or wait here?" Because I don't know what's going. Like,
because think about what would happen.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, think about what would have happened though. Think about what if he had walked in and said, "I'm not going to be treated in this room." He would have been considered like a no-show on his appointment. So veterans,
or they would have been like, "Oh, we're going to have to kick you out because you're being,
being belligerent." Yeah, you're having a microaggression. That's why veterans don't they just take it. They just, when they go to these facilities, they just take it because they're worried that the staff there at those facilities will say, "Well, he was being belligerent, or he was being this, or he was being that. So you're gone, you're out. See ya." So yeah, exactly that. You see some stuff like that. You know what, Al, it's hard, man. They don't want vets to get things better when we run for office, because then look what happened to this. Look what they had to an active duty doctor. Civilian. I've never served with anybody in Congress, but I guarantee it, if I was to have a top cabinet position, I'm not saying I would, somebody who didn't like me or heard an ICE podcast or something like that, or saw me say something on WTF Nation Radio, would use that against me. Just because they don't like me or whatever agenda they're trying to pull. It just, like you were saying, man, it's frustrating as shit. One of the things that I don't understand is that it was just for that incident. I mean, I understand that he's not going to tell us what he was there for because it's HIPAA and it's none of our business, but that right there was inexcusable. We're not the veteran community is not, they're not. Everyone has a soul. Everyone's human. There's a veteran behind each story. So when there's a veteran that you're talking to, in one of these situations, you are talking to a veteran that's got a story behind it. Could you imagine if this would have happened to like a Medal of Honor winner or someone who was it doesn't matter.
Shoot, I say we riot now. I mean, everyone's finding their own niche to riot, and I bring this to, this is Flash. I bring this question to the veteran community. When is enough enough? When do we actually have to go and start picketing? And I mean, when is enough? When do we need to take enough abuse where we're like, hey, we don't have to actually take this abuse? Now, one thing that is also a problem, and I touched on that. There's like 30,000 people missing from that aren't in these hospitals that are making it so these veterans can't get appointments. And the VA also ranks at the bottom of the list of best places to work in the government, second only to the Homeland Security. Part of the reason may be for regional hospital directors who can make over $1 million in the private sector. They're just not making enough money. Their government pay is capped at around $200,000, leading to high turnover. The Surveyor Strayer's organization conducted the survey last year.
Well, do you know why
said that this has trickled down impact on the staff, and the doctors can make more money, so no one wants to work for the VA.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what some of the reason, the drama, I think the reason why all of a sudden Dr. Jackson was drummed the fuck out is because he was actually going to see about considering us just going to a hospital and then the VA gets sent the bill. He's talking about not privatizing it, but alleviating a lot. When you say something like that, think of all the people that have jobs that are involved in doing that type of work. And all of a sudden, this senator from Montana, was it Senator Tester from Montana, is going to come out and say, well, can't do this, can't do that. Why all of a sudden he was the only one that came out and said this. The only one that had expressed interest about him not coming in because he was talking about some allegations of him getting drunk and some allegations of him wrecking a vehicle. Secret Service, like, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So the privatization of the VA, I don't understand why everybody is against it. I really don't, because I think that's open to the fair market system of having better quality care. If the VA gives you an approved vendor to go through, it sounds fucked up, but an approved vendor to go through, and you're gonna go, you're gonna go to freaking Baylor University for your treatment. Fuck yeah, dude. If you're living near Baylor University in Texas, guess where you're gonna go? You go visit fucking Dr. Pepper Museum, then go to Baylor, right? I'm gonna sit there and fucking have to drive. What? Some people have to drive 2-3 hours to a VA when a top university for healthcare is right there. So that's why
when I went and saw the VA, I had to go all the way. I had to drive about 2 hours into Maryland.
That's what I'm saying. I think
just to do my initial, like, hey, let's see how broke you are.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were the whole thing. It was World War I. Al, that the vets rose up against this. That was called the Bonus Army. That was the bonus insurrection. It's when all the great leaders of our army rebelled and broke up the veterans that were camped in front of Capitol Hill. Look it up, the Bonus Army. Fascinating story on how the army treated veterans back in the day. Our army. I'm not bashing the army. I'm just saying that how they treated veterans and how the army was used against our veterans. So don't even sit there and tell me that it's because they need to have a system to go. No. If we're doing off-the-shelf procurement for some of our equipment that we have in the military, then we need off-the-shelf care. If I found out that a board-certified surgeon was able to help me out for whatever ailed me that was possibly going to save my life, I'm not going to drive 2 hours to a VA.
Now on privatization, I know the American Legion, I believe the VFW, are both opposed privatization, along with several senators on the Armed Service Committee and stuff like that. So it's a fight that I know that there's been back and forth on. Now, I don't think privatization will ever happen. I just think there's too much big government organization impact to push that. But one thing that Wilson, the Iraq vet who had to deal with this, veterans have long been frustrated by the perception of apathy at VA facilities. Quote, the people who are there to serve us kind of see us as a hindrance more than anything. We don't seem to be the priority, Wilson said. Wilson said he hoped attention on this issue would help, but also expressed skepticism about what the VA director can accomplish with this probe. Yes, they're going to do a probe. It was messy. They're going to do a probe. No one actually did their job and cleaned it. They do probes all the time and find, somebody's gonna get a slap on the hand.
Yeah, exactly,
Still,
exactly.
This
exactly.
happens.
So you know what's
all
funny
the
is that why is it that when you're in the military and you barely like I dislocated my shoulder, and I had so many medics running to me one time. They all wanted to pop the shoulder back in.
Because you're scared and they want to be your favorite.
Some of those medics, they want to practice their craft, right? These guys don't in the VA. It's almost like it was. I don't want to fucking classify it to whatever. But it almost seems like they don't care. They don't care about their craft, like you said about the apathy. They look at it, and granted, there are some VA personnel that work in the VA that bust their ass to get soldiers transitioned through their benefits and all that. There are some that
But they're being drowned out by the incompetence that is the majority of these VA facilities.
Exactly that.
That's the problem. I mean, no wonder they can't keep people working because one, you can make more money on the outside. I mean, it's not a, you have to want to be in working for the VA when you can be a nurse and make more or a doctor, you could be worth more on the outside than in these hospitals. So you make it so you're making the reputation of the VA worse. And that means everyone who works for the VA has to hear this. And that's got to be disheartening. And I wouldn't want to stay at a place where I'm constantly, being berated for working for the VA. So then they leave. And all you're left with incompetent people doing a piss poor job. And it's just one of those things where we should not, as veterans, even have to be talking about this. We shouldn't have, we should be talking about this as the one-off. Oh man, this happened. That sucks. Not the, oh man, here's another VA story. Here's another time the VA has let the veterans down. Here's another time the VA has been substandard from the top down. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. It's sad, and something's got to be done.
It has to.
I want to fight something at this point.
Exactly that. Okay, so let me go ahead and take that picture out because it's enraging me just looking at that picture being out. Hey, it's time for us to freaking give some shit out. And if you guys don't know, that fucking, hang on, I got some bad fucking vibes coming out of the soundbite that I'm trying to do. Let's see if it works out. Hang on, it's not working. Trying to work some stuff for this little thing that I want to do. I feel like giving something out. And
the VA's screwing everyone. We're gonna give something away.
Exactly that. And WTF Godzilla is out and about. If you could drop, got it. If you could just tell me what's up with WTF Godzilla, you get a shirt. First one on the Facebook live chat. And exactly that. It is Zilla. Zilla's out. So you can tell me what's up with Zilla in the Facebook live chat. Godzilla is gonna pick you. He's our station service support animal. And the first one in the chat.
He's fun to drink with and fun to pet.
Yeah, and he's fun. Yeah. So if you guys can give us a note in the Facebook live chat, if you notice anything, then you'll be good to go. And Godzilla will pick out something for you and ask for your shirt size or maybe, I don't know, some loot or something like that. No, Dale, not salty. No, we're not talking about my exes. We're not talking about any of that stuff. We're just talking about what do you notice on Facebook Live. Not narcissistic. Stop it. Not going there. Zilla's on the keto diet. He's gonna get buff. Oh God.
Stuff's good for you.
Oh man. So, anyways, real quick, until somebody tells me what's going on, Dale's eating fish and chips. What's up with Godzilla?
Eating fish and chips.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so stupid but funny.
You know what, Dale? Since you made us laugh with that, get. Oh. Well, I see. Is that body bag in there? Oh shit! Hi, Holly. Haven't seen you in a long time. What you been up to? What do you?
You do know they can't actually talk straight back to you, right?
Well, yeah, I know. I just
gotta type it out.
Yeah, she's got this like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's like a bunch of O's. There's like a bunch of O's for what? You want some fish and chips? Or
well, Holly, if you know what it is, tell us.
Yeah, if you know what it is, Holly, tell us what it is that you notice on Facebook Live. Do I gotta like freaking? That's a good source of omega-3s.
Well, a lot of fish and chips.
A lot of fish and chips. Oh man. Nobody wants to.
I don't think no one's noticed.
No one's noticed. Okay. Hey, okay, check this out. When you hear Godzilla's roar, you need to be paying attention to Facebook Live. And then when you hear Godzilla roar, then that means that something on the screen has Godzilla on it. And you have to tell us where you see Godzilla. And when you see Godzilla, then WTF Godzilla is going to bust out a t-shirt for you or a gift or something like that. And you aren't, Dale, that's right.
No, Holly's got it.
No, Dale. No, I already said Dale was going to get it.
Did Dale already?
Yeah, I already told Dale he was going to get it. Or is that what all those, yeah, because Dale said I was going to hook him up. I did say that because no one else was going to say shit. Everyone got too late. Okay, I'd say, well, is that... now all of a sudden everyone's like busting in questions. See now that Godzilla's giving crap out, now all of a sudden everybody wants to play. So
I say we give both Dale and Holly something because Holly actually got the O.
Okay, that's probably why she's okay. Yeah. So all right, so Dale and Holly then will both get something from United Hero Apparel. So make sure you go ahead and give us PM us in the Facebook Live or in Facebook your address. PM the page and say here's my address, and Godzilla will pick out your appropriate T-shirt. Well, actually, it's Godzilla, so whatever he gives you, that's what you're gonna get. That's the game now. So if you see anything, well, on my show at least. Hell, I might even branch it out to both my shows, Sergeant's Time and the Monday edition. If you hear the roar, and that means I'll Godzilla a couple times, and then I'll say, oh, Godzilla's out, and you tell me where he's at, then that'll be the prize. I know now everyone's coming out going, he's in the letter O! He's in the letter O! Dale, Holly, you both got the prize. Relax. Everyone's finally Godzilla approves. So so that's the game. So that's the game that because if Godzilla's in the chat, then that means there's going to be the Godzilla roar, and that means there's going to be Godzilla on the graphic. That's the whole meaning of the game. I was hoping to see if you guys figured out. Dale figured it out a little bit, and then I think Holly was the one that threw the and you have to be specific. Because we were going to throw something else out too, but you guys are
now that makes sense. Now that makes sense. So Dale and Holly PM the Facebook page, and then send the email, send the address and your T-shirt size, and Godzilla will send you appropriate T-shirts. However,
from our good friends at United Hero Apparel.
Exactly.
Gotta
that.
love them.
Now here's the thing. Once you get it though, you got to send us a pic of you receiving the material and either or wearing such gear, and then that's it. Too easy, right? So send a message in there.
Easy.
And then exactly. Godzilla needs your address, and he might stomp your house or he might give you a T-shirt. Took you all long enough for what? To get you a T-shirt? I think. I kind of like this game. I think this is a good idea. Good job, Flash.
I think it's a good idea.
Good job, Flash. That's a good idea.
It happens every so often. I might not be able to conduct interviews, but and give away stuff.
It's okay. So, congrats to Holly and Dale. Like I said, PM the page for some information for your address and stuff like that, so we can get that out to you. And the Godzilla will choose your size, whatever your size you may never get. You never know what you're gonna get. Don't complain. Don't whatever. Just Godzilla's a loving lizard. He's a loving kaiju. So, anyways, Oh shit! You want to knock out house cleaning, man?
We need to knock out house cleaning.
Go for it. You got it, man?
No, you go right ahead.
Oh well, shit. Let me pull my shit up. Damn it.
Oh, I didn't realize you didn't have your stuff up.
No, I was busy doing the graphics for Miso Godzilla. So
Okay, I got this. You ready?
Go for it.
So tomorrow we have Jessica Scott. She's going to be on Tied Up Tuesday with Mink. Jessica Scott is an Iraq War veteran, an active duty Army officer, and the USA Today best-selling author of novel set In the Heart of America's Army. She is the mother of 2 daughters, 3 cats, 3 dogs, and a wife to a retired NCO. We get very specific on our details about our guests.
You ain't lying, dude.
I love it. She's also written for the New York Times at War Blog, which, hey, we talked about with Chad. PBS point of view regarding war in IAVA. I need to look up that acronym. She's deployed to Iraq in 2009 as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom / New Dawn, and had the honor of serving as the company commander at Fort Hood, Texas, twice. She also holds a PhD in sociology from Duke University, and she's been featured as one of Esquire magazine's Americans of the Year for 2012. She's also an active duty member of the Military Writers Guild, which I'm actually trying to get into that. So that's going to be going on. That's Jessica Scott on Tuesday, and then next, man, we need to start piling on these guests because we don't have another guest until the Tuesday after, which is May 8th.
Oh wow!
Eric Paz from Big Paws Canine. Big Paws Canine began with a small group of good friends and business associates. Almost 10 years later, there's been over 150 service dogs with their veterans or first responders assisting them in their daily lives. They are entirely operated by non-paid volunteers, with most of them having a connection to the veteran or a first responder community. Eric is in charge of the West Coast operations. He was fortunate enough to find this organization in early 2016. He is married with 2 boys, 1 on the way, and a service dog named Toby. So yeah, just those 2 coming up.
Oh wow! Okay.
That's quick house cleaning.
Yeah,
hey, but don't forget, you can like us, share us, comment us, follow us, talk to us. We're on everything: YouTube, Mixer, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope. We're and Instagram at WTF Nation Radio. Or don't forget, you can go to WTFNationRadio.com. You can, if you want to be a part of WTF Nation Radio team, there's a place you can go and you can send us your application. And if you missed any or this show or any other show, you can actually go to our podcast section, download your favorite podcast, listen to them over and over again, or listen to them on the site. It's all there on WTFNationRadio.com.
Good shit. We got a show every night except for Wednesdays. How about that?
Donza Wednesday.
Donza or training holiday. Yeah. So every night except for Wednesdays we have a show going from 20 to 2300. Sometimes they go over. Sometimes they whatever. But depends on how much fun we have. Check out like I said, Tuesday Tied Up Tuesday. We got Thursday Sergeant's Time. We got Friday Night Freedom. Saturday Night Savagery, and then we have Kicking It with Cause.
Our new show, Kicking It with Cause.
Yeah, actually did pretty good.
Kicking It with Cause has been doing spectacular.
Yeah.
Like every time I look at our numbers, I'm like, man, where are we getting this boost from? It's like, oh, Cause is kicking ass on the Sunday show.
Yeah, Cause is like rocking it. Best stepdad ever, or brother ever. Best stepbrother, because it's not going to be noticed, or I'm going to say, oh shit, Godzilla's here, and you guys are going to be like, oh, whatever. But anyhow.
Next time we might not give it away so easy.
Yeah, next time it might be some work. So with that, thanks for all for coming on and giving me some support. Always pleasure to broadcast for you guys.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.